has a history of more than 3,000 years. The Achaemenid Empire, started by Cyrus the Great, was one of the most powerful empires of ancient times. It created systems of administration and culture that inspired future civilizations. Landmarks like Persepolis and the ancient city of Susa highlight Iran's golden age. Third on our list is China. It has a history of over 4,000 years of existence. China's history goes back more than 4,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuous civilizations. It has seen the rise and fall of many dynasties, from the Zhou dynasty to the Qing dynasty. China's cultural treasures include the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and the Terracotta Army. And now to number 2 in our list, and that is India. India has been in existence for over 5,000 years. India is the most populated country in the world, with a population of 1,409,128,292 as of July 1, 2024. India has a history of over 5,000 years, starting with the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest urban cultures. Over time, empires like the Mauryan, the Gupta, and the Mughal shaped the nation. India has contributed greatly to science, mathematics, philosophy, and religion. Iconic sites like the Taj Mahal and Varanasi showcase India's rich cultural and historical heritage. And our number 1 oldest country in the world is Egypt. Egypt is over 5,000 years old. As at 2023, Egypt has 112.7 million population. Egypt is known as the cradle of civilization with a history of over 5,000 years. It started along the Nile River, where one of the world's first advanced civilizations grew. Ancient Egyptians were pioneers in architecture, science, and governance. Famous landmarks like the pyramids of Giza, the Great Sphinx, and the temples of Luxor and Karnak still amaze people today. Egypt's fascinating history makes it a favorite destination for history lovers. And that's our special report on 5 oldest countries in the world. Best Orator reporting for BeeTv News.
Meanwhile, the Edo State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of a suspect, Abodefe in Abulele, for falsely accusing officers of attempting to extort 2 million naira from his friend, Bright Ayoze. Investigations revealed that Bright Ayoze, alongside 2 others, were arrested by a stop-and-search police operatives during an operation in Ekewan Slope. Later realized that 2 other after police investigation validated their integrity. But for Ayoze, he was detained for confessing to be a suspected cultist. Our senior reporter, Best Orator, has the details.
Addressing newsmen shortly on Friday, the police public relations officer, Edo State Command Joel Yamu, said the suspect on X, formerly known as Twitter, used it to accuse the police of kidnapping one of their friends and demanding 2 million naira as ransom. He said the suspect did not only raise false alarm but blackmail the police on social media, as if the police, saddled with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties, is now endangering the lives of citizens they are meant to protect. He said the command will not console any form of falsehood and blackmail.
This young man posted on his X handle, "It is a practice for me as the police public relations officer to go through our social media handles to attend to genuine complaints against our men. In as much as they subscribe to using the social media handle, we have always appealed to members of the public. The Nigeria Police Force Edo State Command has a number which is given out for complaints against police misconduct, which he admitted having that number. Instead of him to employ the proper channel of complaints, he subscribed to the use of social media handle, apparently for clear intention to defame the character of the Nigerian Police Force, alleging the kidnap and holding of hostage of certain 2 young men.
It was his friend who posted wrong information and falsehood about the police on X, while the main suspect said he acted on heresy as he did not witness the kidnap of his friend. He said he was on his way from Shiloh when someone alerted him that the police had kidnapped, and without proper investigation, he hurried to social media to accuse the police. He, however, regretted his actions for posting unverified news on the social media and advised everyone not to be quick to post information on the social media.
I was coming from ground because it's a slope. I was climbing, so I was on speed because it's at night, because normally that area is not safe at night because there's no lights in that area. So I was coming with speed, so I could not see the police on time because everywhere is dark.
Okay, that was how you were arrested?
Yes, that's where I was arrested. They kept me. They said I'm into internet fraud. Yes, I'm a Curtis. I was in the cell. There was no phone with me, so I did not discuss. I did not even tell him that police arrested me, so I don't know how the information came up.
I said you kidnapped my brothers that are coming from Shiloh, from church, say make they bring 2 million. We keep person and be the thief, hardworking youth, take them off stage. That's what I said. The reason why I raised that kind of awareness was because I could not reach them from that exactly 8. It's when I got here. That's why I said I thought they were coming from Shiloh because I never knew they went to his father's house. No, they did not actually ask for 2 million. When I got here, no. They did not. I was actually helping a friend, but I now knew that I was fast forwarding. I could have reached out to the police themselves to know what happened before I take any action. What I would tell people is that before you post anything about, not even the police, about any organization, you need to know the right source.
Gloria Sisiraman reporting for BeeTv News.
Rehabilitation work on Aduawa Junction by Upper Mission Road Extension is at the completion stage. BeeTv News Freeman Osawe reports that work was in progress at the third portion of the road as motorists were made to use alternative routes to aid smooth repair work. The report.
Before the Senator Monday Okpebholo assumption of office as governor, the Aduwawa Junction by Upper Mission Road was in a deplorable state, resulting in hectic time for motorists driving through the road. However, the story is gradually becoming a pleasant one after the state government mobilized contractors to site. Governor Monday Okpebholo gave the marching order just a few days after his inauguration. When BeeTv News crew visited the site, it was observed that work has already reached an appreciable stage, with concrete laying to fill up the bad spots as well as other fittings.
Where? Another place?
No, as in we'll take that side command. The park cannot.
Speaking with BeeTv News, motorists and commuters in the area lauded Senator Monday Okpebholo for the prompt response on the bad spots, adding that before now, plying the road was a nightmare. They said Senator Monday Okpebholo is truly Mr. Development.
We really try for the roads. Ever since when they start the project for this place, the work they go fast, then they try. I don't see many things they don't do. Before, yeah, not good. I don't know if they pass on. You understand? So now the slab that they pass, but since then now, I don't see work when they don't do. They don't even do it finish now. Okay. Now let this side I remember. I really tell the government, God will bless them for the work when they do.
See, it's hard working. You understand? The road is they are working on the road. I believe before the end of the year, the road will come back again because at first we were not using the road anymore. If you want to use the road now, you go to those New Benin and cut it to Ramat. It was very bad, but right now you see everybody can use the road, everybody can pass through the road. We are happy now. We thank the state governor to continue doing his good work. God will continue to bless him.
They do this road now. We all like this now. Just do okay. So now I benefit that they do for us. So when I help us thank the governor for us, so say you do well for our body. We tell you do the road because before hold up the day here, but now it already clear. They already done for us well. So when I help us thank the governor.
This work a few weeks ago, and we believe by the grace of God everything is going to be okay this week. We're going to finish everything this week because, as you can see, we just finished filling it this morning. We imparted a stone base. You understand? So after this stone base, now they're going to put the rod before the concrete. I believe before Nancy on Saturday, everything about this side will be completed.
Road users are optimistic that when the repair work on the third portion is completed, it will bring a sight of relief. Freeman Osawe reporting for BeeTv News.
The executive governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo, whom was recently sworn in after the governorship election on the 12th of November 2024, seems to be well recognized by the people. Members of the public acknowledged the governor's diligence and affirmed their support to his administration for its prudence. BeeTv News' Glorious Isirame completes the report.
Senator Monday Okpebholo was inaugurated as the executive governor of Edo State. Residents in the state expressed their earnest happiness speaking about Governor Monday Okpebholo, commending his good effort in building the state since his swearing-in into office. They spoke about how he hit the ground running concerning earnest work from the very start.
The current governor is trying for where things are going. At least he stopped the Agboro for now. But I know that he still starts be doing his good work, like the flyover he promised. If you do it, Edo State will still go a little bit further.
The governor of the state is His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo, and of course, so far he has been able to prove that he has something to offer. At least the party does not matter, but what we see individual matter. So at least from the starting point, he has proved to be a man of his word so far.
The people were grateful to the governor for his humility and solid leadership, where he has proven his concern for the people and the state. In the light of this, they pleaded with his administration to remain courageous and just in their dealings and to not give in to external corruption.
Our current governor is Senator Monday Okpebholo, which is an acronym or a guy's name given to him is called Akpakomiza. He assumed office not long ago, and so far so good. He's been able to flag up some projects. So we just pray for the best, and he should ensure to work on with his own will, not maybe being controlled by anybody, because there are speculations that sometimes it can be controlled by another forces, which are maybe godfatherism or past leaders, controlling him to actually benefit their pocket. But he should be able to resist and do well, so that when he leaves office, his name will be remembered for good things he has done for the Edo people.
Thank you. Just to give him time and see if there will be further improvement, and we hope so. Yeah.
Residents are hoping that Governor Okpebholo's administration would only get better in the coming years. Glorious Isirame reporting for BeeTv News.
Onions have taken a slight increase in price compared to the former price they were initially sold for. A basket sells for 15,000 naira against a former price of 10,000 naira. BeeTv News' Glorious Isirame has the report.
Onions are an essential commodity used to prepare almost every kind of delicacy. Most people cannot make meals without addition of onions. In some cases, onions are sold cheaply, but at the moment, the prices have increased. Also, every December, onion usually witnesses an increase in prices because the demand for it is usually high due to the festivities. Not too long ago, a small bag of onion was sold for 10,000 naira, but at the moment, that same quantity now goes for 15,000 naira.
How much did I buy bag before? 50, 40, but now it's 280, 300 for only one bag of onions.
100,000. So now this onion is 300,000 now. So I will see now this one. Now 5,000 naira say. Almost this is a basket, sorry. Now 7,000 naira say. So now it's around 15,000. So now I'm say back 300,000 naira.
You get 500. You get 1,500. You say 1,000. You get 1,000.
Onion sellers appeal to the public to bear with them due to the current increase and said the prices will stabilize soon. Glorious Isirame reporting for BeeTv.
The 36 states of the Federation have finally submitted their reports on the establishment of state police to the National Economic Council. These reports will be considered at the next meeting of the Council. Vice President Kashim Shettima told the Council that difficult decisions have been taken to redirect the course of the national economy and the results are beginning to show. BeeTv News' Joyce Iyere has the details.
Nigeria is moving closer to the establishment of state police, which is expected to improve security across the country. The National Economic Council will now deliberate on the report submitted by all 36 states at its next meeting. Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, disclosed that the content of the report submitted is favorably disposed to the establishment of state police.
So all we are saying here is that 35 states have made their own submission, and many states are in agreement for the establishment of state police, considering the fact that virtually every state have their peculiarity in terms of the problem we're having of insecurity in our own states.
There was a presentation to the National Economic Council from the Revenue Mobilization Allocation, and Fiscal Commission approval was granted for the improved funding of this commission.
Is that RAMFAC should forward the draft bill to the National Assembly for consideration and passage into law. And second, the Council also approved the recommendation for improved funding for RAMFAC.
There are new moves to revamp heritage sites in the country and turn them into tourist destinations and revenue earners for the country. The Governor of Lagos State says the Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy made a presentation to that effect at the National Economic Council meeting.
Young teeming population we have, we've all talked about the power of creativity. We've talked about the enormous opportunity that are bound, in the creative industry, especially with our various historic sites and with our monuments.
The Economic Council also urged state government to key into the programs of the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit in a bid to address the challenges mitigating against food security and their underlying causes.
The wet season harvest has been good, and prices are stabilizing and even coming down in some parts. So it is in an effort to build on the current successes and the current progress, rather, I would say, that has been made both in the economy as a whole, but particularly at this time in agriculture, in food production, that the Presidential Food Systems Coordination Unit is being given extra attention at this time.
At the NEC meeting chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, he pointed out that economic seeds sown by the federal government by way of reforms and interventions in 2024 are already beginning to bear fruits. The VP urged members of council to brace up for the new year, taking into cognizance the extent to which the programs, projects and policies executed this year have influenced the course of the nation's economy. Other highlights of the NEC meeting includes an update of the Federation account balances as of December 2020. Joyce Erie reporting for BeeTv News.
Education, they say, is the backbone of every society, but what if being educated is no longer a means to earn a living, as there are no jobs and people are looking for different means to survive? BeeTv News correspondent Belumi Mikoro finds out from the public if education is really important in today's present economy or learning a skill is more valuable. The report.
Being educated is not enough in today's society. Having a skill is also essential to support the numerous expenses and cost of living. Speaking with BeeTv News, the general public share their opinions between a university education or learning a skill, which is more vital in today's society.
You are taught entrepreneurship, so it's to encourage those that we want to do something outside what they study in school. So we do it. That is what we advise children these days as street hustle, outside the normal conventional white collars job. Because even as it is today, the government will not want any child that is below some certain age not to be educated. So education is a prerequisite for any child. It's a necessity for a child. But after some level of education, you can as well decide to move further and get a skill. So both are encouraged.
Is to go and learn a skill, because education in this country now, you can only have the certificates, but there's no work, there's no job. Although you have you have a BSc, you have everything, they will not give you a job opportunity. So you have to create a job for yourself. That skill which we are talking about. You have to create a skill work for yourself. You have to have something doing. You have to create something that you'll be doing to be taking off yourself. So you want to wait for the government? No way. School is good, but because there's no job opportunity, that's why people are saying school is a scam. So I prefer when you go to school, as you are finishing your school, you go and learn how to work.
At the present situation in the country now, you and I know that there's no employment anywhere. But I have to advise every student, every girl, whatever education you have, go and acquire skill. Go and acquire independent skill, something you can do with your hand. You know, that is the only way you can survive in this country. There's no two ways about it. There's no factory, no industry. All the price setters are, you know, so think for your future, nothing more than that.
For you to have quality education, because that will boost your ability of learning any trade at all. Without the basic elementary education, you will not be able to function well in whatever you are learning. So education is number one, because knowledge is power. So I think I'll prefer both.
Education can never lose its value, as it will always be the bedrock of every society. However, learning a skill has so many advantages which can also create more value in the economy and the society at large. Belumi Mukoro reporting for BeeTv News.
Nigerians from different walks of life have commended the innovative efforts of President Bola Tinubu-led administration over the ease of entering as a result of the newly installed electronic gate at the International Arrival Terminal of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Speaking with journalists, the passengers who arrived in the country via the British Airways airline expressed their joy, saying that the new e-gate are indications that Nigeria is beginning to catch up with global best practices in air travel. Recall that the electronic gates, which were conceived and installed under the President Bola Tinubu administration, started full operation on the 29th of November. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, disclosed that the operation of the e-gate system has resulted in the capture of at least 12 persons causing threats at the airport.
Down here, yeah, and the resources you put in place.
Well, coming in is much faster, and it's the electronic process is working much better. So it's not like before we have to wait for the physical or the manual part. This is quite straightforward, and so those who can use it, we just use it and come in.
Matching up with the other parts of the world, because I've traveled, and this is the first time I'm seeing it. I actually have to ask them, like, is this new? Are you launching this for the first time? And it's really impressive, trust me, because it makes traveling easy and smart.
The federal government says it is committed to improving the mother and child nutrition indices in the grassroots to improve child development and national growth. This is about 600 healthcare workers are currently undergoing maternity, infant, and young child nutrition training in Oyo State. The report. Infant and young child nutrition is critical for the growth and development of every child and has a lasting impact on their future health and well-being. Nigeria has one of the highest rates of malnutrition in Africa, as reports show that 37.2% of children under 5 years are stunted, while 22.4% of children under 5 years are underweight. It is against this backdrop that the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with critical stakeholders, is training these primary healthcare workers in Oyo State to reduce the persistent burden of malnutrition among women and children.
So we are building the capacity of the relevant health workers providing these services at the primary healthcare level. So when their capacity are built, they'll be able to pass the right message. And we know nutrition is so fundamental that is the backbone of all child development, even as a country.
Our input is the development of the MySim manual. The MySim manual is a very rich manual which improves nutrition practices, and it helps to curb the poor nutritional indices in the state.
Approximately 684 health workers are currently undergoing the training to equip them with knowledge and skills necessary to provide accurate guidance to households, mothers, and caregivers on best practices for maternal, infant, and young child nutrition.
So the newly updated MySim training package is a veritable tool to strengthen the capacity of health workers to deliver quality mycin services.
We understand that when we deliver a baby, after you place the baby apart in the courts, but now for the objective of this training now, they have told us that immediately we deliver the baby, mother and the child will be on the same bed.
The capacity building in collaboration with the World Bank underscores the federal government's commitment to improving the health and well-being of Nigerian mothers and children in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Gifts Uwagbo reporting for BeeTv News. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has warned adversaries, including bandits and criminals, to prepare for a more formidable and robust Nigerian army. The Chief of Army Staff spoke during his maiden operational visit to Headquarters 1 Division in Kaduna. The reports.
You do your work well? Yes, sir. And I will do mine well? Yes, sir.
Making his first operational tour, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, visited the headquarters of the 1st Division Nigeria Army in Kaduna. He was briefed on the division's operational activities and challenges. In an interactive session with troops, the Army Chief emphasized his dedication to a leadership style rooted in empathy and a genuine concern for their welfare.
I signed my command philosophy, and the major sections of that command philosophy rest on leadership, sound administration, professionalism. And in that same command philosophy, I made it clear that I'm going to place the soldiers first in every area. And from my address to them this afternoon, you heard me when I said I'm going to place their welfare, as a top priority. Because if they are not at their best, they can't give us the best.
The Army Chief outlined his vision to redefine military strategy, warning enemies of the state to brace for a more agile and unrelenting Nigeria Army.
Well, my message to the soldiers in the front line is for them to be encouraged. We're going to evolve new strategies to make things better in the field, get to approach our operations from a different perspective, and I hope we'll get better results. They should be ready, to face a more formidable army, a more serious army, and for them to know that it's better they just pack their things and leave Nigeria for us.
In a show of commitment to improving the living standards of personnel, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede commissioned key infrastructure projects. These includes the 1st Division Officers Mess Harness at Dalet Barracks and the remodeled Corporal Below Quarters at Kotoko Barracks. Ribadu Cantonment featuring 30 modern housing units each. The Chief of Army Staff called on officers to uphold the Army's core values of professionalism and discipline, urging them to fully embrace their responsibilities and the collective mission to safeguard the nation. Gifts Uwagbo reporting for BeeTv News. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and Governor Uba Sani have called for transformative approaches to public information management in Nigeria. They made this call during the 40th National Council meeting on information and national orientation. BeeTv News' Esoe Osemike completes the report.
At this council meeting on information and national orientation held in Kaduna, the Minister of Information announced the approval of funds to launch the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Institute, described as the first of its kind globally. The institute aims to combat fake news and misinformation. The minister emphasized the need to harness digital tools and artificial intelligence to strengthen government communication.
The New Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a clarion call for transformational leadership at all levels and people-oriented governance. The agenda is firmly anchored on the time-honored principle and governance must be inclusive, transparent, and centered on improving the lives of the people.
Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, also spoke on the dangers of misinformation and the challenges posed by the digital device. He called for inclusive strategies to bridge the gap and counter divisive narratives while promoting the benefits of President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms.
I view with great concern how elements whose interests are aligned to democracy have been working assiduously to derail our country's hard-won democracy. Because of the global economic meltdown and years of mismanagement in Nigeria, fixing our economy requires time and sustained re-engineering. That is why Mr. President has come up with innovative and creative solutions to reinvent the economy and put our nation irreversibly on the path to sustainable growth and development. Although some of the measures have been pending, they are being implemented with good intentions for the greater good of the Nigerian people. As a father of the nation, President Tinubu has continued to renew our hope in the possibilities of the Nigerian nation.
Both leaders agreed on the importance of embedding core national values such as patriotism and integrity in public messages. Soher Osenegi, reporting for BeeTv News.
The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has promised to use her office to ensure every girl child has access to education in the country. She made the statement during the inauguration of the Alternative High School for Girls in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. BeeTv News' Joyce Iyere completes the report.
On the 23rd of April this year, the First Lady visited Osogbo, the Osun State capital, to lay the foundation for the Alternative High School for Girls, setting a 6-month timeline for its completion. Now, the multimillionaire school has been completed and Senator Oluremi Tinubu has returned for its commissioning, accompanied by wives of some current and former state governors. The Alternative High School for Girls offer a second chance at formal education, and it features 3 classrooms, workshop, ICT and skill acquisition centers, a sick bay and crèche for nursing mothers.
Let us remain resolute in our collective mission to ensure every girl child in Nigeria has access to quality education, regardless of her social status.
In our
quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, unquote.
The Minister of State for Education allied the importance of empowering the girl child, emphasizing that such efforts are essential for meaningful contributions to national
government's emphasis on the education of the girl child is born out of the need to address very obvious gaps in education.
As a state, we will deepen the partnership. We commend the Universal Basic Education Commission. This is a laudable achievement.
The First Lady also flags off the distribution of revitalization grants and other items to 1,000 women, cattle traders in the state, with an assurance that an elderly support package will be launched later in the month. Joyce Iyere, reporting for BeeTv News.
The Director General, National Orientation Agency, Larry Insa Onilu, has called for reforms to address the absence of a cohesive national identity and the need to foster unity among Nigerians. He said this at the presentation of the 7th National Values Charter in Abuja. BeeTv News' Rebecca Goffey tells us more.
Emphasized that years of fragmented efforts has failed to create a shared sense of purpose, leaving the nation without foundation necessary for enduring patriotism and development.
So it occurs to us that perhaps something is wrong, because all these efforts have still not produced a united, citizenry, patriotic citizens. We don't have a country where we all see ourselves as brothers and sisters. So all this effort, something must be.
He also talked about why there is lack of patriotism in Nigeria over the years.
The value system that we have put in place is to create opportunity for every citizens to hold these leaders accountable. One guy in the class and say, you are not a good Nigerian. And even cite what he has infringed on the 7 promises that this country has made. We are not fit to be in this office. Some of our children in schools, 1,000
our state and FCT. And we hope that in the next 3 years there will be millions of our children who are going to be part of the citizen brigades. They will be gifted, operate, leadership training, value orientation, ethics, so that we can raise new Nigerians.
Nigerians have been encouraged to take pride in their nation's population and potential, emphasizing their duty to demonstrate leadership both at home and abroad. Rebecca Goffey, reporting for BeeTv News.
Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, has flagged off cash transfer to 44,000 beneficiaries under the COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus Program. He said the move is to revive small and medium-scale businesses and uplift the living standard of vulnerable people in the state. Again, BeeTv News' Rebecca Goffey tells us more.
COVID-19 pandemic resulted in lockdowns which led to collapse of so many economy, loss of jobs and businesses. This further admitted more people into the poverty circle, thereby increasing poverty in the country. Now, Zamfara state government is empowering 44,000 persons under the NG Cares, with women having 60% as beneficiaries.
In order to ensure equity and gender sensitivity, 60% of the allocation for this is allocated to women. The women's share will specifically target widows, divorcees, and volunteer hospital workers who have been serving for a long period of time without any pay. The livelihood support grant is a one-off payment of 150,000 naira. And this is targeted to small-scale business owners.
Government also warns against diversion of the funds and urge beneficiaries to invest widely.
We make sure any person that you give those funds to benefits at the end of the day, because the credibility of governance is if somebody that is the common man within the society is given a form signed and approved by a government, there shouldn't be different story. If you give them, make sure that they benefit. There shouldn't be somebody is given from and monies are elsewhere. We want to make sure that that credibility of this administration is put on hold. That is why His Excellency centralized the distribution and the leadership of coordination in local government under chairman of local government.
Among the beneficiaries are people with special needs, the aged, vulnerable, and women, among others. Rebecca Goffey, reporting for BeeTv News.
And now we'll be going on a short break and we'll be right back.
Vacancy, vacancy, vacancy. A digital online TV studio, BeeTv News, with wide range of audience, is currently hiring reliable and experienced operational staff with background knowledge of the following positions: experienced news manager, reporters and casters, film editors and videographers with experience of various editing softwares coupled with creativity. Transmission directors with knowledge of transmitting softwares and studio operations. Drivers with experience and knowledge of road signs. WhatsApp number 0808 585 3792. 0808 585 3792. Signed, Admin Secretary, BeeTv News.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And now to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria has reiterated that the old 1,000 naira, 500 naira and 200 naira denominations remain valid and legal tender nationwide. The spokesperson of the Apex Bank, Akama Sidi Ali, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. BeeTv News' Joyce Ire has details of this and more from the business world.
CBN urged Nigerians to use alternative e-banking payments to carry out their daily transactions. The naira weakened against the dollar on Friday at the foreign exchange market, closing the week on a negative note. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria FS rate showed that the naira fell to 1,540 per dollar, 1,540 naira per dollar on Friday compared to 1,532 naira on Thursday. This represents a slight depreciation of 8 naira against the dollar at the official market. Similarly, the naira closed at 1,660 naira per dollar on Friday in the black market, up from 1,640 naira recorded on Thursday. This development comes as the nation FX markets continue to adapt to the recently introduced electronic foreign exchange margin system (EFEMS), designed to promote transparency in FX transactions. Nigeria Exchange Limited (NGX) has ended the week on a bullish note as equities market capitalization crossed the 60 trillion naira mark at the close of trading on Friday. This comes amid an increase in the share prices of stocks like ARADEL, Carvatine, and Ikeja Hotel, among others, on the trading floor. After 5 hours of trading at the capital market, the equity capitalization rose by 375 billion naira to 60.2 trillion naira from 59.8 trillion naira recorded by the box on Thursday. The benchmark all-share index (ASI) increased to 99,378.6 naira from 98,760.50 naira recorded the previous day. The market breadth was positive at 37 stock advance and 14 stock decline, with 72 stock remain unchanged in 8,464 days. Joyce Erie reporting for BeeTv News.
And now to the foreign scene, where South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been suspended after Parliament voted to impeach him, with 204 MPs supporting the motion. BeeTv News Global News correspondent Rebecca Goffey tells us more on these and other trending stories from the global scene.
The Constitutional Court has 6 months to decide if the president's impeachment will stand. The vote comes after Yoon declared martial law last week, causing political turmoil. Addressing the nation, Yoon said he is temporarily stopping his journey but promised to do his best for the country until the end. In the meantime, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo has taken over as acting president and held his first national security meeting, emphasizing the importance of national security. Meanwhile, a bomb attack at a festival in Thailand has left at least 3 people dead and 48 injured, with 6 in critical condition. The explosion occurred late Friday night at the Red Cross Doi Lofia Fair in Ophan District, Tak Province. Thai police said the device was thrown into a crowd near an outdoor stage where people were dancing. Emergency services were called at 11:30 p.m. local time. Authorities believe the blast was caused by an improvised explosive device, IED. And lastly, on Global News, Prince Andrew stated that he has ended all contact with a businessman accused of being a Chinese spy after receiving advice from the UK government. According to his office, the Duke met the individual identified in court as HCs through official channels and no sensitive topics were discussed. HCs, who was accused of trying to use Prince Andrew's influence, has been banned from the UK by a national security court. In 2023, HCs appealed the ban, but the court upheld the decision. Buckingham Palace declined comment, noting that they no longer represent Prince Andrew as he is not a working royal. And that's it on the Global News segment for tonight. Thanks very much for watching. I am Rebecca Goffey.
And now to entertainment. Popular TikTok Capella wraps up 2024 in exotic style by announcing his engagement to his rumored lover Jarvis and a heartwarming social media post. This joyous news comes shortly after Jarvis' successful surgery and a recovery from a mouth tumor, marking a double celebration for the duo. The report. On Instagram, Pella shared an emotional video of his proposal to Jarvis, which beautifully captured her